like the attention, girl, I know you. But you're everything I want in life. We're fighting danger like Kung Fu. The love I feel is deep inside. The others don't matter. It's honestly us against the world. We're the perfect team. You're my dream, and I just want it. Can you see myself? Can you see myself? Can you see myself? See myself? Can you see myself? Can you see myself? Can you see myself? See myself? Can you see myself?
Welcome to Darcy Street for the Challenge League decider here. Beachside taking on South Hobart. A point will wrap up the title for South Hobart. The Naughty Knights, their nearest contenders, playing at KG5 at the moment. And I've got to say, looking at the teams, this is a South Hobart team that wouldn't look out of place in the top tier. Some absolute stars out there, including one A. Lazinski, which I'm sure my co-commentator will be joining me momentarily. We'll be very excited about. We'll quickly run you through.
That's an understatement.
As Jake has just piped up, he was looking a little worse for wear, but the mention of Albie's got him up and about. And certainly a strong South Hobart team to take on Beachside today. And I'll quickly run you through the starting 11s, starting with the hosts, South Hobart. Nicholas Becker in goals, Jack Bowman, Jacob Brennan, Lachlan Burt, Olaf Conforti, Ryan Cook, Alex Lazinski, Matthew O, Liam Scott, Pajari Sculthorpe and Connor Cass. That is a stacked Challenge League team. If ever I've seen one, this is going to be a very tough task.
Scotty's back.
Beachside. Hello, Scott. He's just been doing his thing in the Challenge League. You know, one of the best players in the state, just chilling in the Magoos for a while. But it's a side tasked with knocking them off today from Beachside and playing spoilers here at Darcy Street. Number 8, Matthew Bomford. Number 2, Xavier Doherty. Well, there's a familiar name, although perhaps a slightly younger version. But the left arm finger spinner lining out for Beachside today. Lewis Fazakali, number 16. Number 6, Ashley Fisher. Number 98, Aaron Gillum, who we saw in the Cup final a week ago. As we did see the Art Hotel, Henry Jones. Number 3, Matthew Luttrell. Number 12, Peter Marshall. Number 4, Brenton Muir. The cider maker, William Smith, number 14, and Daniel Thurley, another one who started in that Classic Cup final last week, where we have a classic today. Beachside looking to spoil South Hobart's party as they try and secure the Challenge League title, a trophy they've had an absolute monopoly on for a while, as Beachside getting themselves into a little trouble early. Lazinski with her first touch on the ball, looking to release O. Bombing on down the flank, he crosses in, and behind it goes for the game's first corner.
Yeah, and that pitch out there looking like it could offer a little bit for the left-hander today, Cooling. Starting to break up a little bit after an entire season on it. Usually immaculate, this pitch, but could offer a little bit for Xavier Doherty today, I would be thinking. Yeah,
type of pitch we know that the X-Man enjoys. He'll be looking to tweak a few, but he's going to have some defensive duties. First off here is South Hobart.
Primarily is a defensive bowler.
Look to get them in as this one swung into the mixer, headed away. Lazinski will get there first, lays it back off. And cross comes in, Gillum opting not to come and head it over the top. Well, Liam Scott there getting forwards. First chance of the game falls South Hobart's way.
Should this be a bit of an indication of things to come? You'd think South Hobart certainly in the ascendancy here against a Beachside team which I've not seen a lot of, but I've certainly seen a lot of Chili Jones hitting the books down at uni. Certainly a good character, and Liam Scott's just nearly played his team into trouble, but gets enough on the header there. Going to look to be attacking again up this side as he goes to O. Cuts inside on Bomford, gets his head up and passes it to some bloke whose name I'll have to learn.
Lachlan Burt, that one, and he'll lay it back. Yeah, it's a Bowman. Just bear with us on the names. Not a familiar one for us in commentary, the Challenge League, but why not? We're here for the NPL.
That's
Might
right.
as well give the youngsters, the up-and-comers,
absolutely
a shout, and certainly Beachside coming off that game last week, one of the most entertaining games of football you'll ever see. A few familiar faces out there from that one as they look to get forwards here.
And it's certainly good to see the mullet of infallibility calling the game here today, because it's perfect sunshine for a look like that, just glinting.
A league of future stars and certainly one of the best young refs going around. It was Jacob Brennan rather looking to track this one down, along with a bit of MPO experience. He's turning inside sharply, laying it back across to Lazinski. Lazinski has one thing on his mind, and he almost picks out that corner. As soon as he received it, he just knew. And with a keeper with rather short stature and Ryan Gillum, I'd be expecting Albie to be trying to pick out those corners today.
Yeah, showing some real deft touch there, the big sledgehammer Al with Lazinski. And certainly, yeah, not the biggest keeper that I've ever seen in the goals today, but presumably got a bit of growth to go and certainly got a lot more talent than the two of us, unless he's seen Cooling playing for the Dutch Nipples on a Thursday night.
Yeah, look, I certainly enjoyed defending those size goals a lot more than these size goals, but Ryan Gillum, a very good young keeper. We want to put last week out of his minds. This one's threaded through, and Beachside perhaps on here, but the cross in coverage was Bowman for South Hobart. And looking like he was just in behind was Daniel Thurley, who almost got in there.
Yeah, I thought that was Lewis Fazakali. Pretty solid fella, that bloke. Turns out I know a few of these Beachside fellas after all, but usually, certainly quite a different atmosphere.
Well, here is Fazakali looking to get in behind. He's got round Bowman, but he lost his footing in the process, and it trickles out of play. So Beachside looking to probe here and ask a few questions of this South Hobart defence early on. They won't with passing like that though. Spills out of play.
Another player I've seen a little bit of is Matthew Bomford, growing up across the road from me. Certainly putting me to shame with his soccer skills from a very early age, despite being about 6 or 7 years younger than me. Always had far more talent, and we see the young lad on the ball now. Fortunately for him, he's just given it away there, but looks to be slotting into a midfield role alongside young Chili Jones.
Yeah, talented family down Beachside way, the Bomfords. His sister, of course, one of the up-and-comers at Olympia. A very good young player, Olivia Bomford. Already got more experience than most players in the league, and she's 16. As Lazinski turns and smashes this one into the middle. Laid back, and then they'll chip it out wide, and this is building ominously. He's got men to pick out in the middle. He goes to the back post, and it's headed just wide of the mark there by Ryan Cook, who started the season in the MPL team. Scored an absolute cracker here at Darcy Street from about 30 yards out, but unfortunately lost his place due to just the likes of Darcy Hall coming back into that team, Ben Hamlet.
Yep.
It's a tough attacking
he was
trio to break into.
Certainly looking to fry something up there, the Cook at the far post, and made a really good run, but unfortunately for him, perhaps just a little bit too much on that ball. Certainly could have slotted it in if there wasn't as much height on that cross. But they're going to get things going again here, South, and they certainly look to be quite comfortable in possession, and probably the kind of day where Beachside are going to be looking to hit them on the counter. Certainly going to be important that they keep their shape against what you say certainly is a very stacked South Hobart side.
Matthew O driving South Hobart forwards. Again looking to play the early cross, but Bomford blocking that one away. Again thought about the early cross, goes back to Liam Scott. They look to drive things forward. Little chip to Lazinski. Each side will eventually deal with it.
There'll certainly be nothing wrong with that as a method throughout this game, I think. Looking for the target man up top in Albie Lazinski. Certainly looking threatening as the sun glints off that beautiful head of his.
Yeah, and Liam Scott charging through to the fence. It wouldn't look out of place in the Tasmanian starting 11, those two. As Lazinski lays it off for Jari Skelthorpe, trying to pick out the far post, but curling it just wide.
Another player that we've seen a little bit of is Pajari Skelthorpe. Certainly a very mobile young fella. Been knocking on the door of senior selection for South Hobart for some time too. And I think on one of the first games I ever commentated with you, Andrew, you commented that he was just banging goals in for fun in the Challenge League. So certainly be looking forward to getting a really good look at him in his element.
Yeah, a couple of very good years in the Challenge League for Fajari. Fine young prospect. South Hobart working the ball wide here and just knocking it around. Number 10, Lachlan Burt, looking to dictate play a little. They'll spread it wide to Matthew O. Gets himself into a little trouble, but there's plenty of support. Liam Scott.
I've seen him play once or twice too. Matthew O certainly looks to be a capable fullback. Know how old the fella is?
He's a teenager. I can't give you an exact age.
Certainly tough when you've got O, Quayle and Schmidt to choose from on that left-hand side.
Yeah, does make things difficult. A free kick here, Beachside, getting rather gingerly back to his feet is the angler, Ashley Fisher.
Yeah, certainly just probably one of those ones that's more an impact injury, and he'll be up and running pretty soon, no doubt. Pretty tough customer by the looks of him.
Yeah, the interchange rule in place in the Challenge League, so just sliding his way on here to replace him is Nicholas Ashland. And he'll be able to come back on, nothing permanent.
Hope there's an interchange cap.
I don't think so.
Ooh, could be some free-flowing stuff then.
This one smashed forward. O clears the area with a long heave in the Lazinski direction. He flicks on, bombing out after this one. He's the chef. Couldn't quite win the foot race, and Gillam with an unconvincing clearance. It's invited danger here, and he's going to drive it wide of the mark. Conforti, I think that was, and was driving with the left foot. Not too far away either.
Yeah, really good interception there from Conforti, but certainly wasn't the best clearance. Perhaps a little bit of a rush of blood after he took a first touch that put it in a nice spot to be hit from distance, but certainly not quite connecting with that ball. But he'll be looking to get on the goal sheet today, no doubt, as will a bit of this South Hobart side.
More strength from Cook. Muscling the defender off the ball. He got clipped from behind, and the free kick blown after no advantage would develop.
Yeah, a bit of the powerful beef shoulder there from the Cook, and well done.
Showing very good strength. All's the chef. Another set piece opportunity for Burt to take. South Hobart in control early on. Just needing a point today to wrap up the Challenge League title. And Burt looks to curl this one to the back post. He's overhit that one a little low. No one making the run.
Yeah, I like the good defensive position there from Chili Jones. Manning up on Pajari Sculthorpe at that far post.
So we see
really good job.
The table there. The Norkie Knights need to beat Hobart Zebras over at KG5 and then hope Beachside can do them a favour here. But certainly South Hobart you'd expect to get the job done, but you never know what can play on the minds when such high stakes.
Well, the Knights certainly have them in terms of goal difference, as we could just see there. Certainly a team that can bang them in when Matthew Nowicki isn't getting himself sent off for his impressions of the Rock in his early career.
I'm not sure Nowicki spent a lot of time in the Challenge League, Morgs, but certainly spent plenty of time sent off, I'll give you that much. I think the Brown brothers have been key in this Challenge League side, the development side of Knights. Have been really
Declan
dangerous.
Brown, is it?
Yeah, Callum and Declan, yeah. And certainly real players of the future there. But good young side. We'll get some score updates from KG5 if we can track them down. But at the moment, it doesn't matter because South Hobart have got the point as Lazinski turns on the ball, centres it for Conforti. He chips one over the top. That's a lovely ball. A chance to put a cross in. He's got 5 to pick out in the box, and one of them was Brennan. And it's deflected behind for a corner. Connor Cass and Jacob Brennan combining nicely down the right here. A teasing ball from Cass, who's another one of those fullback options South Hobart have had and used in recent weeks.
It's a really good block, actually. Really, really good block from Beachside player defending there, and didn't quite get a good look at who it was, but full credit to the lad because they stopped a shot on target as the ball is whipped in and the Cook gets his head to it, but a little bit overcooked that time. A bit too much on it as it bobs over the crossbar.
Yeah.
producer with the comedy routine there, just acknowledging that there is no hair out of place on Albie Lazinski's head, but certainly no hair out of place on that wonderful beard that he represents either. I'd love a beard like that, but lack the testosterone, unfortunately. Almost see Chili Jones trying to get a quick throw in as they heave it forwards. Falls to the big number 2, who leaves it behind, and South Hobart will recycle their possession and look to move out this left-hand side through Liam Scott and Matthew O. Pretty quickly closed down there, which was good to see by players like Bomford and Fazakali.
Connor Cass now taking over for South, and he drives it down the right. First time ball to the back post for Brennan, stands it up for him. That's a really good defence there.
It is.
Across. And again, that's really well done. If he turned around, I'll tell you it was.
Yep.
Can't say the number.
Wow, well done. What's your name? Really, really good stuff. Number 4.
There we go. Brendan Mule.
And Big Albie just slots it into the centre there, but some more good defending from these Beachside centre-backs who are standing up to an early challenge here.
Brendan Muir, a referee as well. So the ref doing very nicely in defence there. As Scott sends it wide. Connor Cass. Cass looking to get at the defence. But again, Beachside doing pretty well at the back. Cook now driving one from range. He's not been shy about firing goal early on Cook. A couple of headers and a couple of shots from him. But so far,
got some good power on that shot, didn't he?
Just trying to catch the keeper unawares.
Certainly some good camera work from Vlasta there to keep that one in shot, because it certainly surprised me with the amount of pace that it was coming in with.
It's a very hungry chef so far today. Firing them off from everywhere. Beachside now looking to get forward. It's the finger spinner Doherty who plays it across to Vazakali. Vazakali now to Ashland. And he's coughed it up here to Fajari Sculthorpe, who's bombing. Oh, he's got Lazinski in the middle, one-on-one. Here's Lazinski, holds up, waits for some support. And now another shot from range. And Gillum with a safe pair of hands to deny. All off Conforti. I remember Ron Gillum playing a fantastic game here for Olympia last season against South Hobart. We've been Lacquer Seljuk Cup quarter-final.
Going the concussion ball just there.
Well, should know all about that after being subbed off with a head knock last week, the young keeper Gillum, but appears to have shrugged that off.
Good courage from the lad then.
Got cleaned up by his own teammate right at the death, which led to those 13 minutes of added time, really adding to the drama last weekend against Knights. So
I did have a look at the highlights of that one, and there certainly was a bit of feeling in it, wasn't there?
It certainly was. It's you know, a little bit funny that now Beachside are having to try and do Knights a favour today. I'm not sure how predisposed they are to actually doing that after last week. This one's curled to the back post. Cleared but not convincingly. Lazinski tracking back in defence.
Oh,
helps clear the area.
Typically powerful stuff. And is that Pajari? Nope, it's not Pajari Sculthorpe. Brennan on the burst there, who gets it into the middle, and it'll play the 1-2. He's going to get his head up and look for the chef in the middle, but certainly couldn't wrap his foot around the ball there. Another goal kick there for Gillum.
Really bombing on the fullback, getting it ahead, attacking player. Now with Lazinski back in coverage for him at the moment. Interesting sight. This one's
shows his football smarts.
Thumped long. He might get a touch here. They'll work it through the middle. Pajari Sculthorpe again on it. Oh, just under some of the pass a little. Beachside now looking to attack. Fazakali on the end of this one. This is building promisingly. Doesn't have a lot in support though, so just holds it up and waits. And in the end, Liam Scott accepted the invitation and took it away from him. Now he's gliding forward, swings it across, looking for Brennan. That was cut out, and in the middle again, Bomford couldn't quite pick out Thurley. Driving it forward there, but blown for a foul. Beachside again will take over. 18th minute of this one. No score either way. Beachside have absorbed a fair bit of pressure. They've been defending quite nicely. If they can take their chances at the other end. Something to think about. Swings it in Becker. First real action today, the keeper, and Boris does nicely. Picks it up and they'll smash this one forward through Cass. I believe in an offside position anyway was Cook.
I'm pleased that you've gone with Boris Becker and not a reference to whatever that bang average sitcom that was always slammed all over our screen was. I think we're going to be seeing Ash Fisher come back on. Is this the interchange rule in effect here calling?
Yeah, looks like, tell you what, is that actually Xavier Doherty? Tell you what.
I think it actually is.
That looks a lot like Xavier Doherty. Well, there you go. I thought it was just a namesake, but it's an absolute dead ringer.
It actually is.
Well, there you go.
Fancy that.
Well, I had no idea Xavier Doherty was bombing around for Beachside in the Challenge League, but it would seem the finger spinner is actually a striker for Beachside now. Yeah. Interesting retirement from the big X-Man.
Good to see. The Tigers. Showing his multi-discipline talent there. We spent quite a few years as the side screen attendants at Belrive Oval watching him rip apart defences, so it's good to see as the shovel foot just gets into action there.
Cook's put that into someone's hedge over the road there. He has belted that one into a different postcode.
Almost going the over there, really, rather than a shot at goal. So not a bad attempt at power, but really got his boot underneath that one.
I don't think he's got his iron yet, Cook. I think it's about the 5th shot he's had off target so far.
Certainly getting into the kind of positions where he can start shooting, though, so it's good to see.
Lazinski doing some nice hold-up work, hustling and bustling across to Conforti, who's got a task to track this one down. Managed to do it, and in the end they'll get a throw in. Here's Pajari Sculthorpe, slightly heavy touch, but recovered it well enough back to Burt. Burt spreading it wide for Cass. Let's see, get up and run here. Now Cook.
Really quite fleet of foot, isn't he, Cass? Just floating over the top of the ball there, turning this way and that, and certainly making the defender worry, and he's been a real threat down that right-hand side so far. Oh.
Strong in the air with Scott. They go again, looking for Brennan, but well dispossessed down there by Brenton Muir.
That was a composed term there from Chili Jones, which is good to see.
And the Art Hotel getting involved in the middle, and now they go wide. Shut down by Matthew O.
Yeah, and it's certainly been all South Hobart so far in this game, despite a couple of little counters that have been on offer for Beachside. They've certainly been pent back as we see O combining. Brennan, who looks inside to Conforti. And it's a pretty poor ball played there, and it'll be given away to Beachside, and Bomford gets his head up and combines with Fazakali. Got a runner down the side here in Fisher, who's made his way back onto the pitch, but beautiful sliding tackle there from O.
Good start from Matthew O in this game. He's defended his flank very well. Long throw into the box, away it goes by Conforti. Burt for South Hobart, the number 10 looks up, spreads it wide. Connor Cass has been getting forwards at every opportunity. He bounds forward once more. He's got Albie to pick out in the middle. Gets onto his left and then swings it to the back post. But the end product just hasn't been there from South early in this one. They're getting into positions and the final ball just hasn't quite been good enough.
I just feel like a few of them are a little bit too hungry today, perhaps taking the selfish option on a couple of occasions, which certainly won't do you any good in winning football games unless you're Lionel Messi.
Exactly, losing that one out, and Burt dropping deep and getting a hold of the ball. They run things in midfield. Connor Cass has been the outlet for so many of these attacks. They're keen to get it to his feet. Watch him bomb on. William Scott just marshalling the troops at the back. Looks up, sends the long ball, trying to pick up the run of O. The Beachside defence have that one well in hand, and Luttrell puts it out of play.
Really quite free-flowing formations we're seeing here today, Cooley.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Particularly from this south side, we've seen Albie at left back at times as Cook's picked out in the box, but probably correctly given offside there. But they're certainly not afraid to combine and shake things up, this South Hobart team, early, and seeing a bit more of a typical 4-3-3 from the Beachside lineup. So we see a good coming together there from Fazackley and Scott. Copped a bit of a whack in the back of the head. So rightfully stopped by the referee there, Code, who certainly knows the rules about safety and head knocks.
This one, Liam Scott coming up.
Yeah, big elbow to the side of the head there from Scott. Won the header well, but perhaps leading with the elbow a little bit too much there.
Drop ball and play resumes, and Boris will get a rear touch in this one. Liam Scott's certainly seen plenty of the ball. Playmaking centre half.
Yeah,
is Liam Scott.
about to say.
As has Connor Cass, and he's off again. Off to the races, charging down the right. He's got a couple to pick out. One of them is Lazinski over his head. And Rowan Gillum with a nice pair of hands and quickly gets things going again across to Bomford. He was shut down by O. Shields the ball and gave it straight to Fazackley. Bomford's continued his run. He'll look to get on the end of this one. He's got Fazackley in support. Instead he goes inside and just need to release Fazackley there. Just the wrong option from the youngster. Trying to cut inside and beat Liam Scott one-on-one. Probably not the high percentage play.
Yeah, credit to him for giving it a go though, because the run from Fazackley had certainly drawn out the other centre-back, and he could have found himself clean through if he wasn't coming up against one of the best centre-backs in the state.
There's your referees for the NPL game later on this evening.
Just had a look at the South Hobart lineup too, and they're certainly holding nothing back. Perhaps the only surprise for me was seeing Schmidt starting at left back rather than Quayle, but they've got an embarrassment of riches there, the South Hobart side.
I think that's just a case of Schmidt's done nothing wrong to be dropped as Lazinski gets in the end of this one, returning to the present. That one's blocked behind for a corner.
Something I've always liked about Kenny Morton. He's never been afraid to make a change like that, that when a young player comes into the side and does a good job and shows no reason to be dropped, he'll always keep running with them, which is one of the reasons why it's been such a talent factory up here at Darcy Street.
Plenty of that young talent on display here, and another one of those products. Lachlan Burt will look to swing in the corner. 25 minutes gone, and whilst a draw will secure the title, there's always the threat that one goal can undo you, so South Hobart will want to try and take the lead as early as possible in this one. Burt just gets that one horribly wrong. Just slipped as he hit it and slides out of play. Beautiful day for football here at Darcy Street. Sun is shining. South Hobart just lacking the crispness in the final third so far.
Oh, that was beautiful bodywork there from the number 11 Thurley for Beachside, and he's continued his run here, and he could have had Fazackley in at that front post if he'd gotten off his backside and made a run there, old Louis Fazackley. Cracking fella.
Yeah, probably needed to make the run there. As Cook lays it back. Burt sends it down the right. This should be cut out, and is by Ashland.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there was a Mobius football team, he would be in the ones.
Yeah, regular.
Let me put it that way, yeah.
Starting alongside Hamlin up top, you reckon?
Yeah, probably.
But back to Cass. Now Brennan. Kind of Cass again. Each side doing a really good job, the midfield, getting back in support and defending. Can South Hobart unlock them here? Struck it behind the attackers, and they'll clear that one away again. South Hobart quickly regain possession. Burt looking into Brennan.
Matthew O's been tying his shoelaces up there for a good 5 minutes, I reckon. Gets it right now. Certainly doesn't seem that tying knots is his forte, unlike playing as a left back, which he's been damn good at today. As he recovers the ball from Fazakali, showing probably been the best player on the pitch, I'd have to say. Matthew O so far hasn't really put a foot wrong.
He has been impressive.
Ooh.
That one's put behind again.
Bit surprised that Pajari Sculthorpe let that one run. He returned nicely and found himself in a little bit of space, but opting to try and get Cass involved. Or rather, was it Brennan?
Lazinski target here, lays it back in an offside position. Was Brennan, so again, the defensive line of Beachside doing it well. Just a little undisciplined that from South. Straying there was Brennan. Jerome Gillum gets them restarted. A long punt down the middle. Final game of the season for many of these players. They're looking to end on a high. That's a rather ugly challenge.
Jeez.
From the Art Hotel.
Yeah, I'd almost give him a cheese for that one. It was quite reckless from Chili Jones, showing a fair bit of spice in that tackle there from the young lad, and just utterly cleaned him up there. The ball was played quickly for Lazinski, but wow, that was a beautiful header back there from the number 12 in Peter Marshall. Certainly marshalling the defence right there, wasn't he?
Yeah, got the header absolutely spot on.
Certainly danger of own goal if you get that one wrong, but it was bang on the money.
For all South Hobart's control of the game in the first half hour, they've not really asked too many questions of Rowan Gillum. It remains 0-0.
There was some really good hold-up play there from Bomford against the much bigger-bodied Liam Scott. Did a really good job to hold it up, and then with the shirt tug, wins a pretty crucial free kick for his side, and they'll look to heave it into the box as that interchange rule certainly gets into full effect. Almost like this, a little bit of give him a rest on the bench and then let him have a run through the guts.
You don't mind it, or if you got the set piece, bring on the 2 metre tall guy, sub him on for that. Just an interesting little wrinkle, but a chance now for Fisher to swing something in from long range. Kills it in, doesn't beat the first defender. Lazinski lets it run for Brennan. Tracking back was Ashland. Brennan keeps a hold of the ball nicely though. South look to settle it down in midfield through Burt. Swings it looking for Cook. Oh, slightly dicey header there back from Bird. But Gillum just getting to it.
We're going to say that he meant that because it ended up in the arms of his keeper, and that was certainly what he was attempting to do. You see the Art Hotel try to move it on out wide, but nothing really doing right there, and Bomford didn't appear to be on the same wavelength as him.
Just got enough on the header there on the replay.
Like a golfer chipping it out of the bunker really then.
Here's Liam Scott. So Hobart again going to get it forward down the right for the on-rushing Connor Cass. He's just getting forwards at every opportunity.
Yeah, good imposing defence there from Luttrell too to really sniff out the danger and cause a strong coming together. Both players really leaping into that one. Yeah, they've certainly not really worked Gillum so far, despite having virtually all the possession in the half that they'd want it, South Hobart. As the ball was heaved into Albie, can he turn? Unfortunately not, takes a poor touch, and as does Fisher. And the ball falls to Burt, who is more than happy to just flick it back. Look to get wide through Cass again, but the ball is overhit there from South Hobart centre back. Certainly had a pretty free roaming roll up that right hand side, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been bombing on down the flank. It's a pretty good effect so far in this one. It's a bit of a 3-4-3 it seems at times, the South Hobart formation. With fullbacks looking to get really force this one's shipped down the line, and Bomford might be in here. Just waited to track the ball, and O comes across and puts it behind. And as you said earlier, very fluid formation, South Hobart, when they've got the ball and when they don't have the ball. Really changing as this one's nodded into the middle of the park. The Art Hotel up against Albie. Two physical balls going at it there. Albie one out, and now South Hobart look to get away through Brennan. Plays it on for Cass. Turn back from whence he came. Gets his head up and wants to drive at them again. Threads it through for Sculthorpe. Back to Brennan. Another cross into the area, and again, Beachside deal with it. Burt gets onto it and then ran straight to three Beachside players, and he's rather half-hearted shot in the end is charged down. Quickly take the throw in, and
Really like the look of Luttrell and Marshall for this Beachside team in central defence today. They've been playing quite a good game under a fair bit of pressure.
there's been plenty of balls into the area they've had to deal with, but they've really read the play quite intelligently. They've had their positioning spot on. I think it was Marshall who denied the early chance of South Hobart blocking a shot at the near post. Apart from that, they haven't really had genuine chances because those two have been snuffing everything out. Liam Scott now gets on his bike and looks to drive the team forwards and threads a perfect ball through for O. Maybe not so perfect, just overhit. Just a little too much pace on it. Perhaps on a slightly heavier pitch might have held up, but the sun beating down on Darcy Street today, and despite the wet weather, it's in pretty good condition. After a pretty awful week of weather, surprising to come out here on match day and have beautiful sunshine everywhere. So, nods in the middle for Conforti. Clever little touch for Sculthorpe. His ball couldn't pick out Brennan. Sculthorpe again shut down. Continuing to probe South Hobart into the middle for Conforti. Well one back, and now Beachside looking to break. And Liam Scott got in ahead of Bomford. That's brilliantly read by Liam Scott. That's a good ball from O. Found Sculthorpe. Holding it up. Back for Conforti. Back to Sculthorpe. Back again to Conforti. Spinning at the top of the box. And brought down on the edge of the area.
Oh, it's Albie time.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was a beautiful interception there from Marshall before he played that long ball attempting to release Fazackley, which was intercepted by Scott. But then, as we see, which is often the problem when centre-backs get involved in the attacking, there was a bit of a hole left in behind him, which Luttrell was soon across to cover, but even then it was hard for them to try and sort out just where they both needed to be positioning. So one of the first few shaky times at the back. And it's going to be Conforti, I think. And he goes for the, beautiful save there from Rowan Gillen. Take a bow, young lad, because that was a beautiful curling shot on target there from Conforti. And I think that's the highlight of the match so far. Sprawling save, double-handed, and at complete stretch there from the young kid. Beautiful stuff.
Done exceptionally well. He's curled that round the wall beautifully, Conforti. Just bent it back. And Gillam got across to cover it. Throwing in a step over was Cass, lost his footing, got back up, crossed. Lazinski, here's a chance. Cook again, just can't quite find that end product today. And drove this one a little underhit, if anything.
Yep. Little bit of did his steak blue there, the chef. Fairly underdone, you'd have to say.
Yeah, after charcoaling a few early, he's now gone for the blue. He's just got to find that perfect medium rare, which he's yet to conjure up.
I completely agree, and that would be a perfectly placed shot. Beautiful metaphors there from the Slice of Cheese commentary team.
Just in the end opting to let that one run out of play. Interesting little charge up, but Beachside will be grateful for the opportunity. They haven't get forward too much in the last 10 minutes, but a chance here perhaps. As the Art Hotel surely fouled. That was a little bit sloppy and probably unnecessary given the position. And presents a good chance here. Plenty of numbers back and the situation well under control. The back of him. Not sure he needed to make that challenge. Well, that's an attacker playing back in defence, I think.
Yeah, showing a little bit of clumsiness there, Pajari Sculthorpe. And that wall broke rather early, which could have warranted a cheese or three.
That wall cannot be 10 yards away. That was about 3 yards away.
Yep, some liberal refereeing there from the mullet of infallibility, but you know, he's certainly got a better view of it than us calling, so I'm gonna go with his judgment there. I'm sure he had the measuring stick out.
I'm not sure he did. We'll forgive him that one though, as Beachside get the corner. At the end of the day, if you're the kick taker, you'll probably go, hang on, can you measure that one, sir? He opted to take it himself quickly anyway, but a corner chance for Beachside.
See one that we saw the Clarence United pull out. I think it was Naden just belting it into a player who was getting the wall forward a little bit cheeky and getting the cheese and a sore head as the ball is curved in, and it was a beautiful ball too, and well dealt with by Boris Becker, who'd had nothing to do. A little bit of a coming together there from Marshall and Burt, but wins the goal kick to Becker, and he'll look to get it going again too. That was a pretty crucial touch from the goalkeeper there on that corner, which was in a threatening position. So we'll see South Hobart just look to resume their dominance of possession here, but it's been a stubborn performance from this Beachside lineup, and I've certainly liked them for it. Coming up against a team that is really quite full of players that we've seen in the NPL Tas this year.
South Hobart back on the offensive. Here's the clever Conforti. Back to Burt. Again shut down. Beachside proving a tough nuts a crack, and now a chance perhaps on the counter. Not quite with delivery like that one, and Boris will pick it up.
Yeah, Zach Pullen there showing a really good feint and turn there to get in behind O, but it was the pace of O that reeled him in quickly like a Derwent River cocky salmon.
Getting very, very obscure with the references now.
Oh, every bloke loves his fishing.
Very much fishing with the metaphors, Ash, I agree. It's Conforti lays it back. Now, I want to know where the X-Man is. He's gone back to the bench, and I want to see the finger spinner back in now that I know it is the same man. I could not love the fact he's playing for this team more.
Yeah, you have to think that when he was putting in those beautiful years of service for the Tasmanian Tigers, which included a few Shield titles and a couple of Ryobi Cups, or whatever they called it back in the day, probably wasn't allowed to play, but South are getting themselves in a good spot here. Brennan, but he comes together with Luttrell, and Luttrell wins out the challenge and goes to Bomford, who finds himself in a bit of space before Burt comes in with a beautiful challenge to win the ball back and shows some fantastic composure to hold on to the ball.
Been absolutely outstanding, Luttrell at the back today, and again winning a crucial one-on-one for his side. Didn't look like losing it, in perfect control at the back. Another test here for them though. That's some clever play from Sculthorpe, and they might be in here, South Hobart. Sculthorpe! 1-0 Beachside. They finally break through. It was a clever passing move. Sculthorpe heavily involved, and then a fancy finish from the youngster.
That was beautiful work from Pajari Sculthorpe. That flick there was just professional class, and if you don't mind, the backheel finish from the young lad, that is a goal to remember from Pajari Sculthorpe, and he's given his team the lead. 1-0 South Hobart.
Might be the goal that secures them the Challenge League title as well. What a way to do it. Takes a certain audacity to attempt to finish like that and to pull it off. It takes class.
Keep that one for your highlights reel, young lad. That was a marvellous finish. Beautiful combination play there.
just before half-time. A big blow for Beachside, who defended so well for 42 minutes in this half. Looked like they were going to get into the sheds 0-0.
Is it just a bit of a coming together between Luttrell and the left back there, I think, which really allowed South Hobart the space to just kind of walk it in Arsenal style there.
Brennan gets on it. Across now, they might be in against South Hobart. He smashes it to the side netting. Connor Cass deceiving a few here who saw the net ripple.
Certainly did deceive a few. I've learnt to shut up when you see the side net rippling on the near side to the shot, because certainly easy to fall on those ones. But
must have taken a touch after he hit it.
Yeah, perhaps.
Corner given.
So we'll put that one down to another beautiful block there from Luttrell, who's lining up on the imposing figure of Albie Lazinski.
Conforti to the near post. Lazinski flicks on across the face. It was a well-worked move. No one there to apply the finishing touch. Conforti's set-piece delivery is really impressed here.
That is just an utterly marvellous flick back there off the head of Albie Lazinski, and really, if anybody's arriving at that far post there, then that is bread and butter finishing. Marvellous work there from Conforti and Lazinski to combine and create the chance there. They'll get another one. So it's heaved in. Gillum flaps and the ball falls to Conforti, who takes a touch and then really just toe pokes it down the throat of Gillum.
Just lost his balance at the crucial moment there. He did well to set it, but then lost his footing. Wasn't able to really hit the shot with any conviction.
Got a real Luka Modric look about him on the pitch, doesn't he?
Yeah, and similar type delivery from his set pieces. Very impressive, this youngster. Haven't seen a lot of him, but really enjoying his work as he's played one perfectly here for Cook. Oh, somehow avoids Lazinski. Might be able to finish it anyway. He turns back, gets the shot away. Gillum parries. And Beachside surviving. South Hobart breaking them down here as we tick towards half-time. Conforti, the mullet of infallibility getting involved.
Nothing wrong with that. He couldn't really avoid that.
And South Hobart retain possession. That's a poor pass from Burt, though, and Beachside with a chance perhaps to break here. They'll charge forward through for Zackley. He's got Bomford.
Go Bomford.
And the Art Hotel either side of him.
Just left it a little bit too long there, unfortunately, for Zackley, because it was a beautiful first touch on the interception there from young Matthew Bomford. And he'll have another crack at it here, and showed a pretty good turn there to just jink inside the right back and almost goes himself here, but really was looking for the number 10, Zach Pullen, who was arriving at the far post there. Showing some good signs there, the youngster Matthew Bomford.
Yeah, showing a nice turn of pace and getting involved as the Art Hotel is just struggling in front of us on the near touchline here. I think he'll be happy for the half-time whistle to go as he limps off. Looking a little bit sore there as Boris prepares to take the goal kick for South. I think they'll be quite content to head into the sheds a goal to the good South. It took them a while, but they finally broke through, and here's Luka Modric on the ball again, shipping it forwards and nodded away.
Ash was about to go into bat.
As Lazinski spreads it across. Touchdown from Cass, and now gets onto his left, and a little block. Gets it through to Gillum with no harm done, and he goes the quarterback throw down the field and picked out his target to perfection. Scrapping away there with Skalthorpe. They force a retreat back to Gillum, who just punches this one
beautiful pass
beautifully to Bomford, and that will be all she wrote for the first 45 minutes at Darcy Street, South Hobart, with the one hand on the title, needing just a goal to secure a win, rather.
Well, it was a beautiful goal.
It was a beautiful goal, and a well-worked Skalthorpe putting it in the back of the net. And unless Beachside can conjure two here, they will claim the trophy. But a pretty entertaining first 45 here at Darcy Street.
Yeah, I've certainly enjoyed it. It's a really good duel up front between Luttrell and Marshall, who've really actually done quite a fantastic job as the two central defenders for Beachside, and going to have to give them full credit for maintaining it only at 1-0 as we have another look at that beautiful flick from Pajari Sculthorpe. He goes to ground, gets up, and then have a look at this. That is as cool as you like. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful finish there with the back of the heel from Pajari Sculthorpe to probably wrap up the title. I'll tell you what, they were pretty calm about it too. His teammates, I would have been going nuts if I was down there. Probably wouldn't have given him a back injury with the amount of jumping I would have done on him after like a finish like that. Beautiful stuff.
So we'll leave you with the highlights of the first 45 and be back to bring you home with the second very shortly. What?
Full credit to the lad. They stopped the shot on target as the ball is whipped in and the cook gets his head to it, but a little bit overcooked that time.
Drives it down the right. First time ball to the back post for Brennan. Stands it up for him. That's a really good defence there.
It is.
Across. Mule.
And Big Albie just slots it into the centre there, but some more good defending from these Beachside centre-backs who are standing up to an early challenge here.
Cass looking to get at the defence, but again Beachside doing pretty well at the back. Cook now driving one from range. He's not been shy about firing goal. He's coughed it up here to Pajari Sculthorpe, who's bombing on. He's got Lazinski in the middle, one-on-one. Here's Lazinski, holds up, waits for some support. And now another shot from range. Gillen with a safe pair of hands to the nice leading against South Hobart. In like the Celtic Cup quarterfinal.
Going the concussion ball just there.
Well, should know all about that. What do you think about swings it in Becker? It's real action today, the keeper. And Boris does nicely.
The shovel foot just gets into action there.
Could put that into someone's hedge over the road there. He has belted that one. We'll do a different one. He's got Albie to pick out in the middle. Gets onto his left and then swings it to the back post. The end product just hasn't been there from South early in this week from the
Beachside lineup. We see a good coming together there from Fazakli and Scott. Got a bit of a whack in the back of the head.
After the races charging down the right. He's got a couple to pick out. One of them is Lazinski over his head. And Rowan Gillum with a nice pair of hands.
Yeah, credit to him for giving it a go though, because the run from Fazakli had certainly drawn out the other centre back, and he
gets in the end of this one, returning to the present. That one's blocked behind for a corner.
Something I've always liked about Kenny Morton. He's a bit afraid to make Chansky
target here, lays it back in an offside position. And so again, defensive lock down the middle. Final game of the season for many of these players. Looking to end on a high. That's a rather ugly challenge.
Jeez, just utterly cleaned him up there. This ball played quickly for Lazinski, but wow, that was a beautiful header back there.
Swings it looking for Cook. Oh, slightly dicey header there back from Bird. But Gillen just getting to move out again. Get it forward down the right for the on-rushing Connor Cass. He's just getting forwards at every opportunity. 40 back to Sculthorpe, back again to Conforti, spinning at the top of the box and brought down on the edge of the area.
Oh, it's Albie time. Shaky times at the back. It's going to be Conforti, I think. And he goes for the, beautiful save there from Rowan Gillen. Take a bow, young lad.
Cross to cover it. Throwing in a step over was Cass, lost his footing, got back up, cross. Lazinski, here's a chance. Cook again, just can't quite find that. Didn't pull too much in the last 10 minutes, but a chance here perhaps. The Art Hotel surely fouled. That was a little bit sloppy.
And this all head as the ball is curved in, and it was a beautiful ball too, and well dealt with by Boris Becker, who'd had nothing to do. A little bit of a coming together.
Down. Beachside proving a
Oh,
tough nut to
beautiful
crack,
body
and
work.
now a chance perhaps on the counter. Not quite with delivery line. And winning a crucial one-on-one for his side. Doesn't look like losing it. Perfect control at the back. Another test
lovely.
here for them though. That's some clever play from Sculthorpe, and they might be in here, South Hobart. Sculthorpe! 1-0 Beachside. They finally break through. It was a clever passing move. Sculthorpe heavily involved. And then a fancy finish from the
That
youngster.
was beautiful work from Pajari Skull.
Brennan gets on it. Across now, they might be in against South Hobart. He smashes it to the side netting. Connor Cass just leaving a few here. On 40 to the near post. Lazinski flicks on across the face. It was a well-worked move. Oh, and there to apply the
40 who takes a touch and then really just toe pokes it down the throat of Gillam.
Just lost his balance at the crucial moment there. He did well to set it. So really enjoying his work as he's played one perfectly here for Cook. Oh, somehow avoids Lazinski. Might be able to finish it anyway. He turns back, gets the shot away. Gillam parries. Beachside surviving. South Hobart breaking
Out of here and showed a pretty good turn there to just jink inside the right back and almost goes himself here, but really was looking at.
He spreads it across. Touchdown from Cass, and now gets onto his left. And a little block. Took through to Gillam with no harm done. Got this bad boy going too.
Did drink about 3 bottles already today. I'm not seeing as well as I usually do. There's going to be an A-League team. Here it is. Oh, I did. I've given him a couple of good references to how much more talent he had than me as a youngster. We'll go ballistic if he gets a goal, don't worry. He played for the lot.
Yeah, sure. Well, welcome back to Darcy Street for the second half of this Challenge League game. The curtain raiser for the MPL here this afternoon, and perhaps a chance for South Hobart to wrap up the title. As it stands, they'd be on 38 points and comfortably champions for 2017. So long as they don't cough up 2 here to Beachside, they will win the Challenge League once again. Trophy they've had an absolute monopoly on, which just tells you how well the development is going here. We're just about ready for the second half. South Hobart are certainly keen to get on with it. They've already been out there for about 2 minutes, ready to do their thing. Beachside just staying in the sheds a little longer, and I'm very excited to see the X-Man Xavier Doherty about to run straight back out with the team.
Yeah, good. You're good to see, and I honestly don't know how we assumed that would be a namesake, because it's quite a unique name, you have to say, unless he...
It just seemed strange that he'd be banging around in the development side for Beachside, but there you go. The X-Man.
Good to see.
The left arm finger spinner. Tasmania Tiger Store. Now Beachside, number 9 wearing a number 2.
We had some good years with him, that's for sure.
Yeah. Just fantastic at tying down an end was the X-Man.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just Tasmania, had a fine career in the Australian ODI team.
Yep.
Defensive spin bowler.
Utterly unfairly maligned too while he was there, because he had a beautiful economy rate.
And that's what he's in the team for.
Exactly.
No, that's for you.
Just, people's ignorance really showing up there.
Zalby knocks it forwards and we're back.
Great man and a great player.
Underway here as Bomford gets his head on it, nods it down to Bajari Sculthorpe, across to Connor Cass. Curls one with the left foot right into the middle. Away by Luttrell, with Cass will get another bite at it, and this time he goes with a heavy overhit cross over the head of everyone. Behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, the big Cassowary really got his talons to that one and just utterly belted it away, showing typically powerful stuff there from the biggest flightless bird around.
The Cassowary, I don't mind it. I was thinking casserole, but cassowary, why not?
Don't mind it.
Because I'm a big fan of a casserole.
Yeah, Nan's casseroles are a big hit.
I'm enjoying Connor Cass's work down the right.
Unless she's a bit short of cash and it ends up being a chum casserole, I'm not a big fan of them.
You've got to have some nice
Not enough
quality.
money for the pensioners, have to say, Calling.
Before we get all political here, let's get back to the football and charge forwards. This one smashed up there. Beachside getting on the ball and looking to dissect the defence, but that was giving Bomford no hope. And there is the casserole back on it. He looks up, smashes it down the line for Sculthorpe. Luttrell has the situation under control, but his clearance went straight to Cook. Well defended by Fazackley. Unconvincingly cleared though, and Cass lays it back. Conforti in the middle. Plays a 1-2, but it was broken up well. And danger repelled for now, but not for long. Another chance to cross in. Now Milazinski will pounce upon this one. He wants to centre it back there for Cass, who got his body position quite wrong with that shot. And no surprise he pulled it wide.
A little bit of a runny casserole there from Cass, not quite getting onto that one. And it was a nice little rollover from Albie Lazinski to get it to him as well, but never on target, that one. Skillen goes to get the ball, as he's had to do a few times today from some wayward and errant shots. So we see Luka Modric just get a little bit too much under the ball there. Ball's belted high and away to Beachside's right wing, where Zach Pullen has been ploughing the furrow reasonably well, I would say, despite not having too much of the ball. Just a few changes in this Beachside team since we've seen the X-Man introduced. Lewis Fazackley slotting back into a central midfield kind of role, and already seen him make one quality challenge so far.
Here is Luca Conforti on the ball.
Yep.
Lays it back to Scott. Lazinski went for the fancy little back heel, didn't quite come off. And Ashland punches it forward, but Liam Scott again has looked a very composed figure at the back. I do wonder whether we will see him in the senior team at any stage, Scott. He's been getting match fitness for a while now, but surprised we haven't seen him in the NPL level just yet. As this one's smashed away. Brought down beautifully by Bomford. Lovely first touch. Didn't have an option to go to though, and he was robbed of it by Cass, who charges forward, throws in a step over, continues to drive the play. Now needs to release it, and does to Conforti. Conforti getting in down the left. Ashland was tracking him across on the right. Couldn't quite pick out Lazinski, who's still lurking. A slightly mishit clearance. Will go behind for a corner. For a moment had Gillum scrambling.
It was certainly a slightly mishit clearance there from Marshall, who really didn't quite get the boot onto it, but under the imposing threat of Albie Lazinski, you'd be happily slicing it away behind for a corner when he really could pounce and utterly claim a goal right there.
So Burt, again with the near post routine, Gillum smashing it away, and this South Hobart corner routine really reminding me of my Football Manager 2008 tactics, just every corner near post flick on. They're just going at it repeatedly, and now Sculthorpe, really well defended by Pullen, steered it away from Sculthorpe. Did well there, Liam Pullen. Throw in. South Hobart have quickly got back in what was a familiar pattern of the first half, controlling things at the back. Lazinski holding it up. Just shielding the defence from the ball, and now a long range shot is straight down the throat of Gillum from Oak. Comfortably dealt with by the Beachside number 98. Not too often you see that number getting a run. Back into the middle for Burt. Modric.
A little bit surprised to see it, to be honest, the 98. Not a typical goalkeeper's number, unlike perhaps the number 1 or 13, but opting to go with the 98.
I think we speculated last week might be his birth year, but that was a pure guess.
Yeah, maybe we could go with that.
He's certainly around about that age, but
probably the amount of saves that he'll make today too.
He's certainly been busy. Naught he could do about the goal. Lazinski for Cass. Now Cook. Blocked off there and steer it away. Pullen. Really deal with it convincingly. Allows Cass to charge back in there.
Sir.
And no free kick forthcoming. There'll be one there. That was certainly a foul on the X-Man.
Yeah, I'm not too happy about that attack on the national treasure right there.
Scything down.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit of fury they didn't get the free kick a little bit earlier, but see Bomford take a really nice touch just there and win the ball back. Turns this way and that, gets his head up and goes to Rabona. And, you know, fair play to the lad for going the audacious effort, but didn't quite connect with that one, unfortunately. But beautiful to see Quaresma Bomford there.
Not sure he's coached to proof it, we certainly do. Anything a bit flashy like that, we're all about.
Yep, absolutely.
Anything
That's what we're here to
unnecessarily
see.
flash, I'm happy to see. Because if it comes off, you've made the highlight reel and then you're stuck in on a 6th place on the table.
Well, the media man would always be happy to add one to the highlights reel, no matter who it is. Perhaps showing a bit of self-interest there, Cooling. Why you're a media manager and not a match manager.
I wouldn't want to be one of them. All I do is chase balls around.
Yeah, true.
Quite happy up here, sipping my coffee and
The
talking
latte.
smack about the football on display as Cass goes down the line for Cook.
Just trot on the ball a little bit there, Cook, but he gets his head up and goes with Lazinski, and he plays a beautiful ball to Burt, who tries to get into Sculthorpe, and Cook.
Well done, Ron Gillum, getting down to deny Cook, who somehow hasn't scored today.
Just undercooked that one. It's moving up a little bit from the blue display a little bit earlier from the Cook, and perhaps more of a underdone kind of rare, but still he's been getting in some fantastic spots, the chef.
Had that one on target. Well saved by Gillum, reacting sharply. Lazinski now brings this one down. He's been playing that hold-up role today. Chipped over the top for Sculthorpe. Cross to deal with it.
I think I've been impressed by Matthew O today, moving up that left-hand side. They have an embarrassment of riches at left-back in this club.
Yeah, well stocked in full-back, aren't they?
And the best full-back in the state for the senior team on the right-hand side in Adam Gorry.
Yeah, and Liam Quayle was probably considered that last season. He finished top 5 in the Players' Player MVP award for the NPL. Now Schmidt getting picked ahead of him at the moment. Obviously, there's been some injury to do with that, but throwing Cass and O, and they really are stacked. Lovely work from Doherty. That would have been offside, I think. It's the Beachside attacker, so I think Fisher adjusts straight. And here's Boris.
Probably my favourite thing about this game so far is that I just about couldn't tell you the name of that other South Hobart centre-back because he's had so little to do, really. And I've caught you out there too, calling, I think, as we see Pullen get on the ball and just skip away from Olaf Conforti, and he looks inside, but really don't think that that's handball despite the cries from the crowd. Another good take there from Liam Scott, who gets the ball out to the cassowary. He plays a little 1-2 with Albie Lazinski. Goes through now. He's in a good spot. He's got Sculthorpe in the middle. Oh, and just boots it out of the arm of the keeper and goes back to Lazinski. And I'm almost wondering how they haven't scored just yet. And that's a beautiful cross from Albie Lazinski. And I'm not sure if that's been put over the top by Pajari Sculthorpe or that has been a beautiful block there from what could be the X-Man Xavier Doherty, but we'll have another look at that one.
The referee certainly thinks it was straight off Sculthorpe, and
Sculthorpe
gets down there and then just
fumbled.
I think Sculthorpe did catch it in the end, and yeah, he's just kneed it over the top.
Beautiful ball in there. Nice and quick from Albie Lazinski. Pick out Sculthorpe, 2 players who certainly wouldn't look out of place in the NPL Taz.
So there's Modric back on the ball to Burt. Burt across to Cass, who's just dominating down this flank at the moment. He's full of confidence. His tail's up. He charges at the defence again and knocks that one. He appeals for a corner, and we'll get it. Really brimming with confidence at the moment, Connor Cass.
Yeah.
Getting plenty of opportunity to run at the defence.
Luka Modric to curl it in here. Curl it in he does, but straight down the gullet of Gillum there. The big number 98. And he's going to look to get it moving quickly. I think he's trying to plonk it on the head of Fisher there. But well defended by the South defence as per. We see the Cook get onto the ball and just have a whack. Oh, you know, he'll really be wondering how he hasn't scored so far because he has just been having a field day up there, but the only part of his game that isn't quite coming together is the finishing, despite that being a pretty excellent effort from distance.
That was a medium, going for the medium red, just a fraction off what you wanted. But still a pretty good effort.
Yeah, but still pretty good. Oh, and that's just a helicopter ball there from Gillum. Made a couple of good saves, but not sure about the goal kicking so far. Cassowary showing his typical land speed to keep that ball in play and just opts to go back to Liam Scott. Gets his head up to Burt. Almost tried to nutmeg Bomford, and Bomford was having none of that. And that's a pretty reckless challenge almost there on the X-Man, who looks to have been caught slightly on the back of his leg, but also all ball. South attack, but repelled once again.
It was a rare involvement from Jack Bowman, the archer in there, finding his mark in the shin of Xavier Doherty. It hasn't had to do much because Scott's been sweeping up everything there.
Legolas-like in that final battle, wasn't it?
As charging forwards now is Cass, and he skies this one well wide of the mark and into the neighbouring houses.
We like it. Just another little interjection there, and a beautiful interjection it was from our producer. That casserole just lacking a bit of meat there. Yeah, all penne pasta right there. Big hole in the middle of it.
This one nodded away by the archer. Brought down by Burt. Running, it's Brennan rather, and he skips around one, skips around two. Now he's held up by lateral. And turns back the other way to Cass. Cass will look to play a 1-2 with Brennan, who takes a shot on himself and trying to pick out the corner. He just skied it over the top. It's a real shooting gallery at the moment.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Not quite hitting the targets.
Just going to see a few changes down here with the interchange rule now for Beachside. Young Matthew Bomford comes off.
Brenton Muir striding back into the defence.
Yeah, and good to see they're leaving the X-Man out there for a bit of a trundle around the grass of Darcy Street.
There's the cider maker, William Smith, striding in there as well.
Ooh.
So Gillum gets us restart. That just holds up in the breeze, which is starting to really kick in and have an impact on proceedings. It's really picked up in the last 20 minutes or so.
That was lovely from Cook. Some real skill there as he gets the ball out to O, who unfortunately can't wrap his boot around that cross. So just really you have to say it's been dominance from South Hobart in this half for the first 15 minutes, but almost the same problem as they had for the first 40 minutes or so, that they're just lacking a little bit of end product. Or rather, the offside flag was raised there on O. And that's a much better clearance from the goalkeeper. Liam Scott nearly sells himself into a bit of trouble there, but calmly back to his central defensive partner. Gets it out wide to Cass. He gets on his bike, and a beautiful ball played through to him too. Will he get there? Not quite, because the imperious lateral just getting across off his line to belt the ball out of play.
Vincent Turner and Yanni Skalkos. Well, they're set to be introduced. South Hobart haven't really been rolling the subs like Beachside have.
Yeah, and it looks to me as if they're going to be giving Big Albie Lazinski a rest now, because he has been named on the bench for the ones for the game after this one. So just raises the possibility that he could be potentially having a bit of time from the bench too. So perhaps a bit of protection there from South, one of their finest assets.
Yeah, he's striding off, not even going to bother to sit on the bench. He'll start his prep for the MPL game. And I think Connor Cass will do likewise, so we might see them later on this afternoon. But Skalkos and Vincent, or I think we'll go with Vassong Turner, who's going to do his stuff. Does our producer know if he's related to Jack at all? He's got that tall frame and the blonde hair. Could be. No Jack Turner for South Hobart this afternoon. He's out with an ankle injury, which will leave him out for some time, I'm led to believe, putting his League Cup and MPL final series against the Queensland champions participation very much under question. So that could be a big blow for South.
Just seen O come over and start playing it right back now, so just ringing the changes a little bit here, South. Got things pretty well wrapped up unless they concede a couple here, so why not change things up a little bit and see if they can't manufacture another goal. Very well done there from Matthew O. Well, I really thought that was a goal kick and thought he'd done a fantastic job, but the linesman thinks otherwise, but he's much further away from it than us and certainly not infallible like the referee in the middle.
Lovely ball from the X-Man to release two there. It was like a well-flighted off-break from Doherty. As this one's going to be stood up to the back post. Well cleared away by Sculthorpe. For Zachary. Spreads it back across. Ashland with a teasing ball. Almost finding Fisher. The danger's still there. Parried away by Becker and now charged down. Somehow Scott clears and it survives. The South Hobart goal. Now they're on the other way. They've got a 4v2. defender getting back to make it a 4-on-3, but still a numerical advantage for South here. Charging forward is Luka Modric. Took it wide. Holds up.
Got to get the cross in.
Oh, they had 2 men at the back post and he went near post. Well defended in the end by those Beachside players back, but wasted opportunity for South.
Yeah, I think so too, Andrew, and that is a good call because, yep, there were 2 men who were in acres of space on the right-hand side as Luka Modric was getting moving up that other side. And that's a beautiful run here from Matthew O, who goes himself. Arjen Robben-like from the new right back in Matthew O, just cutting inside there and having a ping on the left.
Gillam's done well to make another save. Turner has his first involvement, but yeah, I've been impressed with Gillam dealing with those little curlers for the corner that we've seen a number of. He's got down across, made a few smart saves today.
Yep. Yeah, but a couple of worrying signs at the back there just before for South as it's headed away quite nonchalantly, which allows a corner. As we see here, the real chaos in the box for a little while there, and Liam Scott sensibly getting back to cover Boris Becker, who'd run up to the net there to try and put the forehand away, but couldn't quite deal with it. So some good covering from his doubles partner there. Not typically known for the doubles, was he, Boris Becker?
No, more of a singles man, big Boris. This one's sent to the top of the box, attempting an ambitious volley. Then a back heel, which might work to South's advantage. Instead, a crucial challenge, one in the air.
From Luttrell.
Luttrell had to win that, or they were on, and they still might be South. Oh, his touch just took him the wrong way. And the Beachside defence can get back now. This one's laid back to the Archer. He was off the mark there. Picked out the Beachside player.
As Pajari Sculthorpe just cops a headbutt in the back of the noggin from Luttrell there, but all apologies from the centre-back. Probably the first time he's put that head wrong, but not quite spotted by the linesman or the referee, so no free kick given. But game's probably just started to open up a little bit here, you'd have to say, Andrew Cooling. Not seeing as much calmness in possession from South here. Starting to get a little bit scrappy perhaps as Marshall combines. He looked for a free kick, but none forthcoming.
Burt charged down there by Ashland. Wide they go. Each side just getting back into this one. Can they find an equaliser?
Oh.
This one's teased into the middle. That's a beautiful ball and just couldn't find the sufficient contact in the end.
Unfortunate there because he also had the X-Man making a pretty selfless run in behind the lines too, which drew away a centre-back and really allowed a lot of freedom there for
Thurley
to get in from that left wing and into the box, but couldn't get the contact that he needed, and I'm sure there'll be a few Glenorchy Knights fans who are a bit disappointed about that effort.
Well, it's a club that's been the source of a fair bit of disappointment for Beachside in the last 7 days.
Stuck in Pajari Sculthorpe. That's a beautiful tackle, sliding across the deck from behind. Win nothing but the ball. Just see the number 9 just absolutely whack it into Luttrell there from Nicholas Eichen, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. But see Matthew O getting up the flanks as he loves to do. Looks to jink inside, but stolen away there. It's played up the flank to that man that we saw earlier in Daniel Thurley, but he can't quite get on the end of that ball. Just going to Peters out of play. Really free-flowing lineup from this Beachside unit too, because I think we're seeing Xavier Doherty almost slot into centre midfield at the moment.
Well, they're pushing hard for an equaliser. I'm going to die wondering, that's for sure. Which is good to see, and I've enjoyed the way both teams have looked to attack. I think that's probably part of the Challenge League. With perhaps slightly less at stake. Teams really just looking to play in a positive manner, rather than in the top tier where so often it's one team who sit back and the other team who forces the issue. Both teams have looked to get at each other in this one. South have certainly enjoyed the bulk of the play.
Oh, pretty casual there from Pajari Sculthorpe, and lovely bit of skill, but gives away a free kick that really could have gone the other way almost for a shirt tug for a second, but almost wouldn't mind another look at that one. Yeah, not quite sure what Code's saying there, but they get it going again through Matthew O, who's got a few bodies in the box, and that's a beautiful far post cross, but just a little bit too much on it for Brennan there, and the ball zips out the other side for a Beachside throw.
If that was Albie, that would have been perfect delivery. Just a little short for it, Brennan.
Yep.
Hit with good venom, the cross. It just required guiding towards the net. Plenty of power on it, but Brennan not really the aerial target.
Don't imagine that, just back on that man, Xavier Doherty, I don't imagine that he would have been allowed to play football while he was lining up for the Tasmanian Tigers. They're usually quite protective of their players, certainly when they're under contract, not willing to allow players cop an ankle injury or something like that. So perhaps not too surprising that he's in the development lineup. Despite being probably about 34, 35 or so, he's just slotted into the development lineup as he finds his way in the world of football.
Well, he certainly was a star at the old warm-up soccer volleyball games, Taz, as he used to play. He was very proficient at that one.
I wasn't happy about that.
I know you think that's some kind of disrespect to your other sport there, but certainly Xavier Doherty was very good at that game.
Destroyed the balls.
Well, when they use a football, I don't think it's an issue, as this one's not terribly convincingly clear, but it's going to work out quite nicely in the end.
Do you think football's underfunded?
Between Luttrell and Brennan. We won't get you started on that. Skillum chips this one high. Modric will get back on the ball, but he left it behind. In the end, he's dispossessed by Thurley.
Good ball from Thurley too. Looking up that right-hand side, and they try to get it to Fisher in the middle, but it's really more of a mortar that's comfortably disarmed by Boris Becker. He looks to O, who goes in the middle to Cook, who almost thought was going to have a shot there for a second, but he goes out wide to Brennan. Should have Pajari Sculthorpe arriving in the box as he gets onto his right boot, but opts to go for Burt, and the pass is just overhit a little. Gets it out wide to the substitute, who opts to just go back to Matthew O, and he looks far post to Pajari Sculthorpe, but again a little bit overhit by South. A couple of players lining up in the middle, but it falls to Conforti, who we have renamed Luka Modric. Taking a few liberties there.
Might have put the moz on him with that one a bit too. His delivery hasn't quite been the same since we started running with Modric.
Yeah, perhaps the commentator laying the curse this time. Good to see that one reversed a little bit.
Exactly won the header, but he didn't know anything about it. Then Doherty came through. And now they'll go over the top with the direct approach, but Boris should be able to pick that one up, no issues.
They've had a couple of opportunities to get inside here, Beachside, but just on a few occasions they've overhit that final ball, which has let them down a little bit, because they've been much better since probably the 55th minute or so of this half. It's actually been quite a balanced affair, I would go as far as saying, as Boris Becker just almost chips that one out over the top, and good battle between Marshall and Sculthorpe before he shows a little bit of the circus seal act by balancing it on his nose. Then has to get back and defend rather quickly. Does so well. Looks to the bowman, but perhaps running it to the corner flag a little bit early there. Still another 17 minutes of regular time to play.
The two number 9s going at it, Sculthorpe and Ashland, and the Archer sends this one into the middle. Beachside pick it back up. For Zachary now with a chance. It's well won by Liam Scott. He has been on top of things at the back today. I'm not sure what Ken Morton's plans are for him, but very surprised we haven't seen him in the top tier this season. He is such a good player as Brennan turns, jinks back the other way, and then looks to pick out the corner, but picked out Rowan Gillum.
He showed some really good skill there, didn't he, the young lad, to get himself into that shooting position, but as has so often been the case here today at Darcy Street, just not enough on the final shot, as O gets fouled there quite significantly, and he's going to look to keep going, takes the advantage and puts in another slightly overcooked cross. Oh, and that's some beautiful footwork there from, I think it was Brennan again. Just gets out the pitching wedge there, and it falls to Burt, who gets one bite at it, gets two bites at it, but puts it over the bar, unfortunately.
Sculthorpe blocking the first effort. So have another look at Jakey Brennan here taking off.
Oh, that was lovely, wasn't it?
What a move, and then just couldn't quite pick out the far post, just a bit too central with his effort, but
I wanted him to finish because he did such a good job to get himself in that position.
It's a very nice move to buy the space. Just beat the defender. A real talent, Jakey Brennan. Cook sends this one forward. Volleyed over the top and gives Fisher something to chase, but again Liam Scott is on hand to deal with it.
Really do have an embarrassment of riches, don't they, South Hobart, with Liam Scott lining up back here.
Well won back by Fazakali, and then Cook was solid in his defensive duty.
When you consider goal of the year, Thomas, and
Fazakali not going to win goal of the year, that's for sure, with that effort.
He should. It was deliberate.
I was referring to that shot from Fazakali, but as for the extra goal of the year, the poll's still open. Sanders v Thomas for the crown. Closes at 5 o'clock. We've done two little versions of it. Which one gets played will be determined by 5, so get voting, people.
Yeah, get voting, and get voting for that young lad, Thomas, because, gee, I wish I'd been here for that game. Utterly disappointed that I was away for it. I reckon I would have lost my head completely, as I try not to swear there.
I wouldn't have mattered. None of our commentary got picked up. The crowd was that damn loud. It was just a raucous scream.
Yeah.
The place went to absolute meltdown as South Hobart all but secured the NPL title. That went over Olympia.
Yeah, the halfway goal to make it 3-2. I don't know how it couldn't be goal of the year, frankly, whether he intended it or not. We see Brennan get into another shooting position. Combines well, perhaps a little hint of offside, and well blocked there from Luttrell, who, geez, he's been pretty damn good at the back.
Yeah, very impressive. And Brennan again, really, he's still running strong, and perhaps against a few tired Beachside legs is starting to have a real impact.
Really difficult kind of name to pull out a nickname on, though, Luttrell.
Brother of Alex? Bell? Don't know. He's been very good, though. There's the corner. Will be swung in here. 15 minutes to go in this one. Modric nods at goalwood. Plenty of numbers back for Beachside to repel. Sculthorpe out after this one. He turns. Lays it back to Conforti, who's dispossessed, and we'll have to go back and chase it. Feigned one way, then turned back classily into the middle.
That was very good, wasn't it?
Worked it to Cook. Cook with a long-range effort, and he's gone back to charcoaling the stake there.
Yeah, really crucified that stake. I would have been throwing that one back in the kitchen. Wouldn't have been too happy with it, but really gotten himself into some great spots today. It just hasn't been his day in terms of the shooting boots, but he's ploughed his furrow well. As we see the substitute rule get going again, and the X-Man coming off and Bomford coming on. Just taking up a role as what's almost looking to be a slight change in formation for Beachside, but I'll get it going here through for Zachary, who wants to just knock it back for a second to Pullen, I think. He gets his head up and gives it to that man, Scott. who shows his skill with the ball there. Pick out a beautiful crossfield pass and well flicked through for Sculthorpe, but Luttrell again not putting a foot wrong at the back. Been a really good battle between the two of them up top, hasn't it? And it's taken a real moment of class from Pajari Sculthorpe to make it 1-0 earlier in the first half. Now we see Olaf Conforti look to go to Brennan, but he overhits that ball. It will fall out to Gillen for a goal kick, rather.
Ticking towards the end here. South Hobart looking like they're going to have 2 trophies presented to them on the one day. The NPL trophy at the end of the day. Looks like we start off with a Challenge League victory as well. Down the middle they go. Scott strong in the air, but it's going to fall to the angler. Fisher driving forwards here and lays it off for Bomford. Bomford threading it through for Thurley, who goes down.
No.
But well refereed. Neither mullet of infallibility. That was never a penalty.
No, just opting to shield the ball there and just kind of falls over himself really rather than anything. Typically good refereeing from Cody. Such a good mullet too.
Flawless. As wide they go. Into the middle, Beachside pushing on, trying to conjure something late, but they've turned it over and Conforti can pick it up for South. A few tired bodies out there at this stage. Not quite the same verve and movement we saw in the first half from these sides. A few just starting to lag. Conforti.
I would be absolutely in tears if he ever rocked up with that mullet shaved off. Oh, and that's a beautiful black back heel flick there from Bomford, but just not quite on the same wavelength. Was the new substitute, the number 15 in Harry Bird, I think it was actually.
Here's Turner. Works it forwards, picked up by Fisher. Oh, disrupted it, but it still landed in the path of each side player, and they'll now look to pick out Bomford just over his head, went for the flick on. Skalkos lofts it forward. Ashland for Beachside, spreads it wide. Back to Bomford, back heel. Not sure it was intentional, there was no one there for it anyway, and now Conforti looks to push them forwards. Just controlling the ball nicely and then working it out to Brennan. I think South are just happy to keep possession here and just see out this one. The league well in their keeping, no need to take unnecessary risks at this stage. Here's Bowman. The archer sends it long, but, well, Turner not going to bother chasing that one. Can't say I blame him.
Did we work out whether or not he was relative of Jack Turner?
Not a clue. I mean, it's a fairly common name, so
yeah.
There's a bit of
same coloured hair, perhaps, but certainly a more lanky customer than the solidly built Jack Turner, who's in pretty extraordinary form for South Hobart throughout, returning.
So Matthew O throws to Sculthorpe, chests it down, back to O. He's switched flanks and still been effective, and that's a dangerous looking ball, but just under hit a little, and Gillam able to collect.
He's defended so well, Matthew O, and attacked fantastically as well, but his final end product has just been lacking with a few overhit crosses or a couple just a little bit too close to the goalie, but I've certainly been really impressed by his work up the flanks, and I'm always a big fan of fullbacks, as we see their importance in modern football by the exorbitant prices we're seeing played for them in the big international leagues. Absolutely an undervalued part of teams attacking arsenals. As Burt just gets mounted from behind by Lewis Fazakali, a little bit excited there from the number 16 for Beachside. A fine ball.
I'm staying well out of that one. Free kick South Hobart. Burt to deliver. He's been pretty good over the dead ball today, and he chips that one, and there's the curse of the commentator. That was bang average. Straight down the throat of the keeper.
For his 98th save, as is his number.
But Scott.
Oh,
Just
he's
overcooked it a little.
yeah, probably the first foot we've seen him put wrong, and he's opted to stay up for a second, but intelligently we saw Cook slot in straight away and cover that little attacking verve there from Liam Scott. Looks to get it out wide to, I think, was that Skalkos?
Yep.
And opted through the middle. Luka Modric, good combination play there between Sculthorpe and Turner, but just taken away by number 12 there for Beachside, who has had a pretty good game there at the back.
Marshall.
Peter Marshall, marshalling his defence.
Yeah, he and Luttrell have been very good. South have had plenty of the play, but only one goal to show for it. They've been mainly restricted to pops from range for the most part. And that's a result of the good positioning of the defence. I wonder if Xavier Doherty might be introduced to you. We know he's very good at the death. Very good death bowler.
Yeah, around about the 84th minute, pitch starts to wear a little bit, so could offer a little bit there, Xavier Doherty. Would be good to see him get out there and try and turn a few into the goals. Clean through. Really good at that one that just doesn't quite turn and just straightens onto off. Saw plenty of that. Or rather, the far post.
As Gillum stands this one up to the wing. Looks like Cook's favoured. And he wins the header in the direction of Turner. And the play goes. The sting seems to have gone out of this game compared with the first half.
Yeah, and they've just got to not concede 2 goals for about another 6 or 7 minutes. And they'll be home here, South Hobart, to pick up another trophy for this fine club. You see Bomford cut inside quite well, but wasn't really any support around him on the ball, and Liam Scott just opts to whack it away, and it goes down to Gillen. And he gets his head up, and they're really just playing a little bit of long ball now, and a good flick on there to Bomford, who was apparently offside, but I didn't know about it from where we were. He looked to have just stayed on, perhaps played on by Liam Scott, but I'm probably wrong because I'm half blind today.
And Liam Scott chipping it down the line in the Brennan direction. Well defended though. Now Beachside look to turn defence into attack. A raking ball. Bowman had his positioning right and won it away. Now Burt will pick it up for South Hobart in the middle. Cleverly protected the ball from Bomford, then spread it wide, looking for the substitute Turner, who let it run, but he also ran out of pitch to play with. There's another sub.
Oh, here we go, and the manager of Beachside is certainly seeing it the way that we see it. Xavier Doherty introduced late, as you so often do see.
Yeah, got to get him on at the death.
Yep. He'll be a real threat here now, and just worrying signs here for South Hobart. They'll need to keep a cool head, play things with a straight bat.
Just not professionally see it out.
Yep, not get too carried away and start off with any windy woofs as we've started seeing creep into the game. Oh, beautiful touch there from Bomford, who plays in a beautiful ball, and it's not a bad shot either, but perhaps just creeping a little bit wide of that far post, but Boris Becker showing some good stretch to get onto that one.
That was the first touch of Bomford there. Silky
utterly
stuff.
Glorious, wasn't it?
Bird unable to hit that one with enough conviction, but it opened up. Oh, that's a lovely little turn there from Brennan. He runs up now. So we've got a couple of defenders to get past. Retreats back to Burt. He might have a pop from range. It was blocked away by the X-Man.
Beautiful stuff there from the X-Man to block that one out, as we see Ash Fisher just dribble past Cook and get his head up and dribble past Scott too. Oh, and he had a couple of players on the overlap on the right-hand side there, Fisher. It was a beautiful, mazy run. Shades of Thierry Henry against Tottenham there for a minute, just absolutely bursting through the middle, but not quite the finish of the king there, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's undone it by just burning his two teammates and opting to go for the massive shot.
Always hard to do when you're hitting it under a bit of fatigue there too, but give some credit to Ash Fisher there for what was a barnstorming run. Beats 1, beats 2, and then had the couple on the other side, but Yeah, perhaps hoping to just go the nutmeg on the goalkeeper there, Boris Becker, but he's been calm when he's had to deal with anything that's come his way, as we see a nice turn from Bomford and played out wide to Pullen. He jinks inside Skalkos and then jinks back inside, but he recovered well to just clear the ball away as Luka Modric puts it down the head of Bomford and then comes in with an imposing challenge. Certainly nothing Luka Modric about that one.
Yeah, that was more Casemiro. As this one's slightly undercooked. Sets Darcy slides. It's blocked off him. Just wide off the post. A dicey moment at the back there, which Beachside do survive. But, gee, sold his keeper out. Timed that perfectly in the end, Gillum. He just got the ball first and played it off Sculthorpe. That could have easily bounced into the back of the net.
They give you conniptions those moments, though, don't they, when you're just worried that a player's going to over-connect and perhaps get the studs caught in the turf. But probably sensibly just pulling out of that one a little bit there, Sculthorpe. No need to get your legs snapped when you're 1-0 up and about to wrap up the title off what was a beautiful goal from the lad too.
Yeah, would rather sour the day, but remains 1-0 as we tick into the final minute of the season. So Hobart a goal to the good and looking like they'll wrap up yet another Challenge League title. Once again showcasing the depth that they have got at their disposal. Here's Doherty. The X-Man does well around Sculthorpe, but Sculthorpe won the war and got it on to Brennan. Gets his head up and runs, lays it back for Cook. Cook turning back.
Just swept away for 4 there was Xavier Doherty. Really good work from Pajari Sculthorpe to manufacture one last chance, but Brennan has just snuck offside there. See a little bit of dancing down there from Matthew O, who seems pretty happy about the impending victory, just having a little bit of a laugh with the Beachside bench. Intercepted there by the Cook, who looks to just whack it long, and it was a beautiful ball out the head of Brennan, who did manage to stay onside, and he looks to combine now with Conforti, who gets his head up and looks to Pajari Sculthorpe, but well held there by Luttrell. Played a really damn good game, Luttrell, I have to say. Him and Marshall have been quite outstanding for two blokes that have been under pressure for the entire game. And oh, that is a marvellous goal from distance from that man. I think it's Cook.
Sculthorpe, wasn't it?
Sculthorpe or Cook? I really
Sculthorpe, I think.
We'll have another look at that one, but I thought it was Cook with the one. Nope, it is Pajari Sculthorpe. What a goal, lad. Take a bow. You have scored 2 of the best goals that I've seen this season today. That is utterly marvellous. And that is it. That is the Challenge League title wrapped up off the boot of that man, Pajari Sculthorpe. Well done and take a bow.
He's certainly mercurial, Sculthorpe, and he's just picked out the far post in off the woodwork. But what a hit that was. The Beachside defence just sat off him and he said, all right. And finally one of those long-range shots have gone in. They've tried him often enough. Sculthorpe said, I'll try my luck this time, and geez, he hit it well.
Yeah, well.
Follow up that audacious, immaculate effort to open it. So a brace for Sculthorpe, who's dominated this competition for the past 2 years, and he's just kept on doing it today as South Hobart wrap up the 2017 title in style.
2 marvellous goals from the young lad there, and I'm disappointed at our call of it because it deserved much better than what we offered him.
Don't you go lobbing me under that, mister. That was Cook.
Oh, he'd just been burned into my retina. He'd had that many shots from distance. I was expecting one of them to come off, but no, that was some marvellous stuff there from Pajari Sculthorpe. So we just see the one starting to warm up and get ready for what will be the day that they finally get to lift that trophy. Presentation day.
Sculthorpe weaving a little more magic, but then he's just sat on the ball.
Oh, don't know what that free kick's for.
I don't think he was intentionally sitting on the ball. I think he just lost his footing. Got back up, but anyway, free kick. And that's full time. South Hobart FC Challenge League champions for the 2017 season. They've been the best team. They get the 3 points today. They probably should have won by more in the end. Beachside
Yep.
gallant, they defended well, but at the end of the day, when you come up against a team with so many big names, pretty hard to get a result. And South Hobart take the chockies today and in 2017.
Yeah, I think that is a good way to describe that Beachside team. They were gallant, but at the end of the day, it's been this man, Pajari Sculthorpe, with 2 moments of absolute class that has wrapped up the Challenge League for them. That beautiful sweeping backheel goal after the flick on out wide to Brennan. Just marvellous stuff there from the big unit up front. We'll leave you with the highlights of another beautiful goal coming up from him right here in off the post. Pajari Sculthorpe, take a bow, and well done wrapping it up.
Somewhere the pages start to turn, and somebody whispers, I need